There's two phases of a candle. The two phases of a candle look like this. This is something you guys have learned from my protraction profiling. This phase in here is known as protraction, okay? So this in here is market manipulation phase of the candle, where the candle forms the opposing run. Sometimes you'll hear this as opposing run, okay? That's what I define as protraction or manipulation. Then there's this phase of the candle, which is the expansion phase. I don't know why everything's in capital. Sorry, guys. So the expansion phase. Oftentimes, a reversing candle will form an opposing run and simultaneously an expansion phase of price. So I want to be involved in the expansion of price if it's offered. The number one confluence, so the people who stay around and actually watch live, you're getting it all. The number one confluence to determine if there's going to be an expansion phase of that candle too is what? Someone tell me what they think it is. How do I know this candle is going to form this? So this, let's say these are two types of candle twos. This is reversal expansion. The other one could look something like this. Reversal consolidation. Remember market cycles. Okay, if these words are unclear to you, go watch a fees lecture. IPTA market cycles, okay? This will clear up a lot for you. A lot of the language I'm using is based directly from that lecture, okay? So this is going to be the reversal expansion. This reversal consolidation candle is not going to look like this. Instead, it's going to look more like this. Do you think we want to trade a candle if it looks like that, guys? Yes or no? Nah, right? It doesn't interest us as much, right? It's high resistance liquidity. Now, the reason why it's high resistance can be defined for a few reasons. So what signatures tip me off to if we will get a reversal expansion C2? How do I know we're going to get a reversal expansion? What are some confluences? You guys are experts. I want you guys to put this in the chat. What's one confluence? Displacement? Yeah, I like display. Time of day? Yes. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of things that are more objectively measured. Okay? C2 runs against a previous higher time frame consolidation. C2 runs against a previous higher time frame consolidation. I bet you've never heard of that before. Think about why I'm saying that. What is so important about a higher time frame consolidation being ran? What have you ever heard about small ranges and large ranges? This is from Larry Williams. It's a direct quote. What types of ranges result in large ranges? Small ranges, right? Small ranges lead to large ranges. So when you have price, think of price, guys, like a string, okay? The string only has so much length. This is string. When price is oscillating up and down, what do we call this phase of price, guys? From a market cycle perspective, what's this called? Accumulation. Okay, so this is your accumulation. I'm going to give you guys a succinct justification for why people say AMD and why it actually works. This is going to be based in logic again, not a pattern. Again, theory first is what I'll lead with. Accumulation. We get a deviation of the range low in candle 2, right? So this is going to be our deviation of the range. Some people will call that manipulation, okay? The question I have for you is how much string, right, have we used in this amount of time? So as price makes its run, how much string have we utilized before what we're going to call distribution. Do we use a lot of string or a little string here? Again, let's follow the string. At this point, how much string have we used? Not much, right? Think about the string being stretched. Here, it's not being stretched very much at all, right? It's going up and down. So it's very relaxed. It's just like waves, right? Then eventually you get a sharp move, which uses some string. Again, pay attention to that language. This move in here utilizes some string. We're going to come back to that, okay? That statement. And then we have the rest of the string to expand, right? So we can use more energy in that expansion if the previous part of the price action was an accumulation. So let's blend the analogy. If price is moving from a higher time frame, small range, which we define as consolidation, then price can expand into a large range after forming a candle to low. Put it all together. Let's use those words. If price is in a higher time frame consolidation, not using much string, candle 2, right, can form a low and expand once it runs against the previous consolidation. That's one way I can actually look for a candle 2 to reverse and expand, is if we have an accumulated range beforehand and we're order pairing the lows and the highs. Yeah. So you also heard the other one in the back, which is from T-Trades. So let's use that string analogy, right? When we make that opposing run of candle 2, what did I say this part uses right in here? There's 2 points we care about. We're going to zoom in. So this is point 1. So confluence 1 is right here. Small range or accumulation. Okay. That's confluence 1. Let's make this a different color. Confluence 2 is right in here. And it has something to do with this opposing run. Why is this not updating? It has something to do with this opposing run right in here. Remember what this looks like. This is candle 2, okay? I'm not good at making schematics, guys. I was never good at art, but this is candle 2 in an expansion, okay? What about this area of price can give you an indication that it's going to expand? The wick, yes. So a small or large wick, which one do you think uses more string? Let's keep the string analogy, or just use more energy, right? Uses more of price, a large one. Okay. So if we have a large wick, do you think that price is likely to reverse and expand against it? Remember, the run is against the consolidation, right? That's the first confluence. It doesn't have to be a consolidation in all cases. Sometimes you'll see it won't be, but these are 2 confluences. So these can exist independently, but the best is when they exist together, right? A small range before accumulation, sharp deviation of the range with a small opposing run leads to that beautiful distribution. That's when you get that A plus C2 distribution, is when you have these confluences stacked. Okay. There's also one more confluence that I've noticed. So C2 forms a small opposing run. Wait. There's one more confluence. Think about the idea of order pairing, okay? What happens if price, instead of doing this, looks more like this? I'm going to draw you another schematic. What's the difference between these two? The range high has already been purged, right? This is a double purge. And according to MXM Trader, sometimes double purges result in the most explosive moves because it takes out both sides of the market. So another thing I'll look for is a potential C2 double purge. So do you see how we're building criteria around candle 2 to say if it's going to be high or low probability reversal expansion or just reversal, maybe into a consolidation after? A double purge might give us an indication that a large move is coming, and that was based on some information I learned from the most recent MXM Trader course, right? Always updating and building my model around, other great educators. So this is something that's recently introduced. Now look for that before candle 2 forms its low to see if we potentially run the high with a shallow raid. What's range high? Use candlesticks here. Which range am I looking at? C1 high, right? Small opposing run of C1 low. There we go. Do you see how that can also lead to an explosive move? That's where we're also going to look for candle 2 to reverse and expand. So I've given away something I haven't talked about much before online. This is what I look for in C2 reversal expansions: a double purge, a small opposing run, and an accumulated range to the left of what I'm trading to be a reversal. Add these confluences and watch how you actually see candle 2's printing those large expansions. Okay, so that's where I look for candle 2 to reverse and expand, and I try and avoid candle 2 if it's more likely to be a reversal and consolidation, meaning I don't see one or all of these signatures in candle 2's manipulation. So if I see a candle 2 that doesn't have an accumulated range to the left, immediately I'm thinking it might not expand, potentially. If it forms a deep opposing run, I'm thinking it might not expand. And the double purge for me is more like an even better if. An even better if is like if we wick shallowly the range high and then we form double purge. Now I've learned that, right? Is there a range of points that classifies as small wick? I would actually look at the wick in the formation of price and time. If we open up our candle and immediately take out the lows and then start to push back into the range aggressively, there's a lot of time left for that candle to expand, isn't there? Remember, this is a candle built in time and price. If price spends the majority of the candle creating the opposing run, how much time is left for it to expand? If we get our change in state of delivery here in candle 2 with 10 minutes left in the candle, right? This candle probably isn't going to expand, is it? But if we get that change in state of delivery 10 minutes into the candle with a very, do you understand how time is actually going to qualify the opposing run? Think about what you just asked. It's not just about price. It's also about time, right? Because if price manipulates deep below the previous candle's low, if it does it very quickly, I'll still consider that to be, in many cases, a shallow manipulation. Because the string, although it uses a lot to go lower, you guys have seen this on like news, like a huge wick against and then a fat wick down, an immediate reversal. If we form that opposing run quickly in time, I know that candle has a lot of price left to still distribute over time. But if we only get that change in state of delivery halfway or 10 minutes left in the candle, what candle do you think I'm going to trade? Candle 2 or candle 3? Candle 3, right? Because it's not just about price moves, it's also about how quickly price is moving. So if we form, this is the last confluence, if C2 sysDs early, does that make sense? That one is a bit more complex and nuanced. But I want you to remember that each candle is a function of time and price. So if we get a small opposing run, it is very likely that we will close back above the consecutive series of candles, changing the delivery state, with lots of time left in that candle. That time is going to allow us to expand for the rest of the candle. If we only get this change in state of delivery with 5 minutes left in the candle, it is very likely that that candle will not expand aggressively in just 5 minutes.